and right into the stretch. Looking back and throws up the middle. Rose is on his way around. Picked up by Otis.
Here comes the ready and not. Here comes the boys from the south. Here comes the ready and not. How you like me now? I say, here comes the boom, ready and not. Here comes the boys from the south. Boom, here comes the boom, ready and not. How you like me now?
You don't live in Cleveland, you live in Cincinnati.
You are watching live. I don't have enough energy for the rest. The best team Cincinnati sports podcast. This side of the Bengal barn. We suck. We're 3-5. How we doing? How we doing?
What is all that shit on your countertop?
That is a grocery haul. That is a bunch of canned beans.
Well, you're going to be
Too.
farting for a long time.
I have been exploding like a raging volcano today. It has been bad.
Ask me how I'm not doing well.
At least we got the best intro.
Yeah. At least we got the best intro.
We've done that right. We did that without the Bengals' help.
Yeah.
So where do you want to dive in tonight?
I don't know. I mean, there's been a million podcasts about what happened Sunday. It's that's a game I'm not going to get over for a long, long time. I think it's totally exposed every hole in the Bengals, from head coach to whatever Duke Tobin is, to Al Golden, to we're not showing our real defense here in the preseason. It's all just a bunch of shit and a bunch of malarkey. And I don't think any of the fans in this city deserve to have a team like this. I really don't.
Mm-mm.
I think there should be a lot of trades being made right now. Any effort put forth to winning football games right now, I can't see that making a whole lot of sense. And I'm not a tank guy. But if I'm an offensive football player and I'm on this team, I am calling all those guys out. I don't see effort. There's no tackling. There's nothing. There's absolutely nothing that any individual on this football team on the defensive side of the ball is doing well. I don't even care if you can talk about DJ Turner. Well, he freaking got out-leaped by a tight end on a halfback option. Are you kidding me? Nobody is capable of making a play on that defense when the chips are down. They can make a play in the first quarter. You know, they can make a play here or there when there's zero pressure on them. But anytime, this goes all the way back to last year, that this team had to make a play, they don't make a play. They beat the Steelers last year in the last game of the season because Freiermuth dropped the pass. Defense didn't make that play. It's god-awful. It really, really is. It's the worst 2 years of defense I've ever seen in my life. It's worse than when they had that Jack Ball that now coaches for the Steelers.
I was going to ask, is it worse than Terrell Austin or no?
Yes, it's worse than Taylor Austin. This team, you could bet any amount of money you want to bet when it is somewhat late in the game and they need to stop, always bet against the Bengals. And it's like that because they don't have any coaching, anybody that has any bit of piss and vinegar about them. They need somebody that's going to grab every player by the back of the neck and hold them accountable. We don't need a coach that says, well, we just need some guys to step up. We don't need to hear that. We need a head coach that fucking steps up. That's what we need, and we don't have it. Look at that. It brought your dog barking on, didn't it?
Well, actually, just walked in the front door. She was at Halloween with the neighbors.
I'm not a fire this guy and fire that guy kind of guy, but time is up. And it won't be up because we still owe him next year's contract and the remaining however many games they got left, 7, 8, 9 games.
Let me go let Ashley in really quick.
Yeah, why don't you do that? So I guess I'll just keep talking since he's not on here. There's no reason whatsoever other than the almighty dollar to keep this coaching staff intact. Duke Tobin has been here 26 years. He has made very, very few positive picks other than the layups of Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and a handful of other players. He has screwed up far many more layups than he has accepted the layup and actually scored a point. He's just a terrible idea of a GM. Hey, you're back.
Yeah, heard something about a bad GM, but
Just talking about I wonder how many misses Duke Tobin has made on the layup first-round pick versus how many layups he's actually made.
I went through it the other day about 5. I typically go back 5 years and then keep going because I like to give guys 2 to 3 years of whatever.
Are you talking about number one picks, first-round picks?
Yeah. Yeah. So I start, I guess this year I would have started 2021 and then went back.
Yeah.
And, it's a lot.
I mean, obviously 21 and 20 were a piece of cake.
Right. Those are your true layups.
Yeah. And every year should be a layup.
Yeah.
In the first round. It really should be.
19 was Jonah Williams. That felt like a layup.
That didn't pan out too well.
Didn't pan out well here. He's still playing, and he's playing well elsewhere, which leads me to wonder what the hell's going on with their
that's your
development.
coaching thing too.
Right. I mean, we could start going back.
I don't think you need to.
Okay.
I just think we're just going to just keep unearthing more and more bad things. I just don't know where we go from here because unless there is a complete overhaul starting at Duke and wiping through the coaching staff, and then, I mean, you're going to have to bring in a coach that commands the ability to do anything and everything he needs to do. You're going to have to bring somebody like that in. And I don't think Mike Brown is going to allow himself to be pushed around in his late stages of his life. I mean, let's face it, that's where he's at. I think he's going to go out doing it his way. Unfortunately, he's going to go out doing it as a loser. He was a loser in 91. He's been a loser all the way through. Joe Burrow is the only person that ever made him look good.
So I'm all the way back to 2004, and he had a little run from 04 through about 10. 04, honestly, 04 through about 2014. He did pretty well. I'll give him that. Chris Perry was a good pick. Chris just got hurt, but I think we would agree he was a good ball player when he was healthy. David Pollock, good when he was healthy, but Jonathan Joseph, good pick. Leon Hall, good pick. Keith Rivers was a solid player for us for a while. Andre Smith, Jermaine Gresham, Then you have AJ Green, Dre Kirkpatrick, Tyler Eifert, Darqueze Dennard. That's a good run again.
Only one of those players even would be given a 0.5% consideration of being a Hall of Fame type player.
Correct.
Now, all these other teams draft Hall of Fame type players. Other than AJ Green, and he'll never make it, there's not a single player on there that you're really, really proud of.
Well, let's get to the fun run here. Starting at 15, Cedric Ogbuehi. William Jackson, depending on how you felt, a couple years where he was good. John Ross, Billy Price, Jonah Williams. Then you had Burrow and Chase. Then Dax Hill, Miles Murphy, Mims, and Stewart. Ooh, there's a lot of – over the last 10 years, it's a lot of whiff. A lot of whiff.
I mean, Stewart's already a whiff.
Yeah, I would say
I'm not giving him a year or 2 years. He's a whiff. How in the hell you got one tackle in the 3 games he's played? He's had 88 snaps. How do you have one tackle? I mean, he's right there on the line. He's where all the action happens. He's got to have more than one tackle.
You would think. He's not playing well. He doesn't know where he's supposed to be.
None of them do.
Mm-hmm.
It's like we just drafted a bunch of idiots. They knew what they were doing in high school. I'm assuming that's how they got to college. They knew what they were doing in college, I assume, because that's how they got drafted. But why is it? It's got to be the culture. It has to be a losing culture, especially if some of these guys can go to other teams and play better. It's kind of like the old St. Louis Cardinals. Mm-hmm. You could take a washed-up player and put him on the Cardinals, and all of a sudden they blossom. It's a culture. It's a winning culture. It's an expectation. It's what the Steelers have.
It's top-down accountability.
Everybody should want us to be like the Steelers. And I know they don't win every year, but they maximize what they've got. They get the most out of their players.
They definitely don't lose.
We tend to get very
Ever.
little out of our players.
They definitely don't lose. Selling that.
No, they do lose. They lose a lot. I mean, they might win 55% of the time, but they're always going to give you a tough game. They're always going to punch you in the mouth. They're always going to show up. They're not going to get ramrodded 48-10 by the Lions. That's just not going to happen.
Mm-mm.
They won't allow it. They refuse to have that happen. We don't have that mentality here. And I think probably the toughest coach we had, we let go to Indianapolis.
They actually got mad at him for how tough he was when he got here, if you remember.
Yeah. There is something very, very wrong with the type of coaches, the type of culture, the type of a lack of a winning mentality that we have. We thought Joe Burrow was bringing it here. It takes more than one guy.
Mm-hmm.
It really does.
Well, I mean, we talked about it the other night of what I would like to see more from defensive players. There's a distinct lack of aggression. I'm trying to find a nice way to say this without coming across as an asshole. There's a distinct lack of just dick on the defense, if we're going to put it the right way. When you go back and look at some of the better defenses that the Bengals have ever had, and I see it right here in the comments with Stranger, give me a few guys who idolized Vontaze. Is there one guy on this defense that you're afraid to run a route or a run play in his direction? No, not at all. Because they're probably going to miss you, and if they do miss you, they're just going to trip you. They're not going to hit you hard. No one's going to hit you late. No one's going to punch you in the face. No one's going to dive at you. You know, there's no extracurriculars with this team. I'm not saying I want a dirty team, but I want someone that's going to be a little bit of a bully. I hate saying
I like a player who just knows how to make a tackle. Where did that go?
I always hate bringing back the when I coached, because it was such a short period of time in my life. But the early meetings in the offseason when I coached were, especially when you had new kids coming in, you're trying to build your depth and your roster, and you're really kind of starting to see where the pieces fit where. The first question everybody always asked after quarterback was settled was, who's the biggest asshole on the team? And you put him right in the middle of the defense. And that's what it was. The middle of your defense, the teeth of your defense, is supposed to be the strength. It's supposed to be the pillar, and it's supposed to be pretty fucking aggressive. Look at the middle of my defense. You got TJ Slayton. Nobody fears TJ Slayton. BJ Hill. I don't even know if he plays anymore. He's fucking invisible out there. You've got two rookie linebackers running around in the wrong direction half the time. I rarely see him put a lick on somebody. Occasionally, Knight looks like he pops somebody, and that's about it. Barrett Carter runs the wrong way. Knight runs the wrong way. Then I get to my safeties. You've got Jordan Battle, who gets deflected passes in his lap periodically, and you've got Geno Stone, who can't tackle. So I've got two safeties who can't tackle, two linebackers who can't tackle, and two interior defensive linemen who don't get in the way. There's nothing to be afraid of in the middle of my defense. Nobody hits you hard. They're soft as tissue. There's no aggression. There's no asshole. There's no level of aggression on that defense that makes you think maybe I shouldn't call a play here. If I'm calling plays against the Bengals defense, I'm looking at a dartboard and going, where do I want to go? I mean, it's pick your whatever avenue you want.
All you have to do is try against the Bengals defense, and you're going to score.
Mm-hmm.
It's when it's early in these games where these teams are kind of feeling each other out and stuff. That's the only time our defense ever seems to be able to stop anybody.
It's because people aren't necessarily trying to really open it up at that point. Again, I've got my script. This stuff should work. I'm not going to put myself in a disadvantage. I'm going to put myself in calculated, advantageous situations early on, and then you start seeing things on film. Oh, that's how they reacted to this? We're going to smoke them later on this. You just kind of start building everything that you want to do the rest of the game. The myth of halftime adjustments that people always talk about. They're not really halftime adjustments. They're adjustments that are constantly kind of being checked on and analyzed through the course of a game. and you get a moment to reset going into the second half. And now instead of feeling out a first half and adjusting, I now have made all of my adjustments from the first half, and I just go with that. And the Bengals have no level of anything to be able to react to it. I mean, how many times on tape do we see guys literally running the wrong direction? It's weekly.
Well, you talk about disconnected. How about Zach Taylor's comment in one of his pressers where he said, we had 2 drives at the end of the game that we didn't do anything. If we'd have put up 40, we'd have won. What kind of line of thinking is that? I think he is just an offensive coordinator. He's not a head coach because he doesn't ever talk about the defense. He certainly doesn't hold himself accountable for anything bad that happens for the defense. He only talks about the offense. He's the wrong guy for the job. Mm-hmm. Bottom line, he's just a wrong guy. And I've had to make a lot of decisions in my life on moving on from people. And the best thing you can do when you have to move on from somebody is if it is imminent that it's going to happen, it should be immediate. There's no reason to stretch it along. I don't care if they put a interim head coach in or whatever it is they've got to do, but they've got to cut this thing off as close to the head as they possibly can, as Jeff Blake once told me. They need to do that. And as soon as they do that, maybe they can begin to build for the future. But again, I don't know what happens inside the building, but if Duke Tobin is the primary person that makes the selections for the draft picks, he is way, way out of this league. They need to take that away from him.
So if you want a he said, she said conversation, and why not? We're media, right? That's why we put this.
Well,
this fun
we're
stuff
not
out
media.
here.
I was told that I was media, kind of in an insulting way. I am not media.
Well,
I'm just a fan that's complaining.
I want to put some bait out there. You call it rage bait, clickbait, whatever. I know the person that this was said to, and I trust them with my whole heart. So this is not my buddy told me that a buddy told me that a buddy told me. This happened to my friend, said directly to him. Back in May, whatever it is, May, June, whenever they do the Taste of Bengals, you know that big event that everybody gets excited for.
Man, you got to pay $500 to be a part of, just to maybe stand and get your picture taken with a backup center.
Yeah, sure.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Katie Blackburn was making her rounds and went up to one of my friends, a very, very close friend of mine, and expressed to him that she was very worried about how the defense was going to look this year, that she was concerned it wasn't going to be a good defense. That was in May. That was in May. Katie,
what'd you hear about it?
What'd you do? Not a damn thing.
You know why?
You sat on your hands.
Because the defense fit the payroll.
Mm-hmm.
This team is more about things fitting payroll. That's what they're about, instead of winning football games. Okay, I got to say this. I was talking to my best friend today, and he wears his heart on his sleeve.
Yes, he does.
And he said, what?
I said, yes, he does.
Yes, he does.
He does. I
agree.
He
said to me, wouldn't you think if you're 90 years old and you know you don't have a long time left, that you would do anything and everything in your power with all the money that you've got to have an opportunity to raise that trophy on that stage for the Super Bowl? Why in the hell is he not made like most people, and winning means everything once you've got all the riches? You've got it all. The only thing he doesn't have is that trophy to confirm that he actually knew what he was doing one time in his life. And it's true. I don't get Mike Brown. I really don't. If I had the money he had, this town would love me. I would spend it in as many ways possible on coaches, on scouts, on anything to get the best possible team, the best possible developmental coaches, the best game plans. My idea would be total NFL dominance, to win every game by 4 to 5 scores. I would be wanting to bury everybody. Mike Brown, they don't even show him on TV in his box. There is so little life or enthusiasm or animation with him, he's not even worth them putting the camera on. Any other time you watch any game, they're going to show the general manager or they're going to show the owner. They never show him. He's just like a bump on a log. Speed of the team is the speed of the leader. And this is why we have what we have. And there's no light at the end of the tunnel. We need somebody to come in and just say, the hell with it. I can make this team go. And as long as that owner lets me do things my way, and then I'll sign the contract. And we know that there's coaches out there that can do that. But we need somebody to – that's what we need. We don't need players to step up. We need Zach to get booted out and somebody to step up that knows how to coach football and come into this town and put the Bengals firmly on the map.
When was the last time, and I know you know the answer to this, that this team had a head coach with any amount of charisma or a mouth to him that was willing to say something?
Well, they had one prior to the one I'm going to talk about, but I know you're probably talking about Weish.
Mm-hmm.
Weish was a weirdo.
He was weird.
He was a creative offensive mind. Again, he didn't know a lick about defense. He was kind of like Zach with a personality and somebody that'd be willing to take a few more chances than Zach does on offense. But the last guy and the only guy they ever had was Forrest Gregg. Mm-hmm. He was the only one. And when we had Forrest Gregg, our defense was probably in the top 4 or 5. And he had Lindy Infante running the offense, and our offense was probably in the top 2 or 3. We had the perfect mix of offense and defense. And we had accountability, and everybody feared Forrest Gregg. All players feared him. I'm not saying you have to rule with fear, but if Zach Taylor had to do something in cross paths with Forrest Gregg, Zach would have urine running down his leg. He would be scared shitless of Forrest Gregg. We don't have personalities like that, and we need it. And that's because Paul Brown wasn't afraid of that personality. Mike Brown is afraid of it.
Mm-hmm. No, this team needs someone with the gumption of like a Bill Parcells. Mm-hmm. Is what they need. They are so soft on every level. There's guys out there. Trust me, there are guys out there.
There are definitely guys out there.
It has fallen out of favor with the culture of the players, but I don't really give a damn what the players like. I want to win.
No, who cares about the players? They have one job: play for the team. You go. If he says jump, you say how high, because you're getting paid a ton of money. Mm-hmm. Players aren't supposed to think.
No,
and their opinion really doesn't matter.
They're really not. They're supposed to go. There is one player on that field that is supposed to think, and it is the quarterback. Everybody else is supposed to react and be trained to what they're reacting to. And that's it. So the title is the sky falling? Has it fallen? Is it still up? Where's the sky? Where's the sky?
I think the sky's 100% crumbled.
Okay.
If Bengal fans out there right now are still holding out hope that something magical is going to happen this season, more power to you. I'm not going to say anything worse. I'll just say more power to you.
One of the people holding out hope has joined. It's Greg.
Somebody needs to show me how the worst defense I've ever seen in my life can ever compete seriously to win any game that's important. Not to mention a playoff game or a Super Bowl. You can't have a defense this bad. You cannot. Mm-mm. You can't expect the offense to score on 80% of their drives and then maybe win. That's what we're dealing with. This is year 2 of the same thing.
Mm-hmm. In average defense, you can figure it out with a potent offense. If you've got a potent defense, an average offense can figure it out. As long as special teams does what it's supposed to do, you know. But you've got to have an A to an A+ on one of them, and you've got to have at least a C on the other side. And we've got probably a B on all. With Flacco even humming, I'd give it a B. There are some things that I hesitate with him, but it's a good offense with him out there. It's good enough to do what it needs to do. At least I think everybody would agree with that. It's good enough to win games.
Well, their offense is better than good enough.
But
they can win a Super Bowl with this offense. They had an average defense.
They would.
Now they have a running game.
Yeah, it happened out of nowhere. That's a development.
But we thought it might happen.
We did. We said it on here.
You get a quarterback that's willing to do what it takes for the team, unlike Joe Burrow. I love Joe Burrow, but I'm starting to think he's not all about the team. If he's unwilling to go under center because he's fearful of turning his back to the defense, well, he's not half the quarterback I thought he was then. All the other quarterbacks can go under center and turn their back to the defense and still make the play. And maybe if he learned how to use his running game, he wouldn't have to drop back as often, and maybe he wouldn't be hurt as much. I love Joe Burrow to death, but I'm telling you, sometimes you can't coach stupid. And I think that's a little stupid on his part. Maybe I'll get to meet Joe Burrow now by calling him out a little bit. Because putting him up on a pedestal never got me anywhere.
Right.
But, I mean, look at what Flacco has done. He just comes into this without any experience in his offense. I challenge anybody to really think that this offense looked much better ever with Joe Burrow in it. This offense is humming.
It is, unfortunately, and they can't do anything with it.
It's because you got a numbskull for a coach who doesn't understand and care about defense. You have ownership that feels like they did enough by satisfying the public by signing Joe, T, and Jamar to the big contracts. There's more to football than a quarterback and two receivers. And unfortunately, that's what everybody in the national media was saying, and we look like fools now because they are right.
Mm-hmm.
We have zero semblance of a defense. But I do think if the right coach came in here with the right attitude and with the my way or highway approach, you might see some of these guys actually step up, as Zach wants to see them do. They're not going to step up for Zach. They don't respect Zach. They might think he's a nice guy. That's as far as it goes.
So I do want to say, for reference, because there's anything that I can be happy about this year, it's how Joe Flacco has played as a Bengal. If I were to take his stats and push him out through a 17-game season, just to give people the understanding of how productive he is right now, he would be on pace for 4,400 yards. He would be on pace to only be sacked about 20 times, which would be like best in the league. He would be 40 touchdowns and no interceptions. I would say 40 touchdowns, no picks, 4,500 yards, and 65% is probably an MVP.
Yeah.
So I'm going to have back-to-back. I'm going to have back-to.
Burrow can't make the team go any better. They've scored, 72 points in their last two games?
Something like that, yeah.
And the Jets, I have no idea how good their defense is or not. I mean, they didn't have Sauce Gardner, but they put up 34 on Pittsburgh. It's not like our defense is intercepting passes and returning them for touchdowns. Yeah, quarterback. Well,
Stranger agrees. Joe needs some tough love. And, I've said it in the past too. I don't know why he won't run the offense like this.
Because Zach Taylor won't make him. Zach's afraid of him. He's scared to death to try to correct Joe Burrow. I mean, obviously Joe doesn't have all the answers. He wouldn't be getting hurt as much as he gets hurt. He'd figure out that he shouldn't be holding on to the ball so long. If he isn't watching what Flacco's doing, taking notes and changes his game, then he's an egotistical idiot, is what he is. He's going to shorten his career. He's going to be the laughingstock because everybody makes fun of him nationally because how often he gets hurt. He's soft. Just everything about this team pisses me off right now. It really does.
They're
embarrassing. Why in the world? I mean, this seems to happen to the Bengals every – they go to the Super Bowl in 81. 82 was a strike season. And they went 7-2 in the strike season. They made the playoffs. They got their doors blown off, I think 44-7 by the by the Jets. Then 83 they tank, 84 they suck, 85 they suck, 86 they barely make a playoff or miss it. They have a couple good years and then they go away. Then in 87 they were 4-11. That was another strike shortened season. It was a replacement season. 88 they make the Super Bowl. 89 they get to the playoffs and they get ramrodded by the Raiders. In the playoffs. 90, or maybe that was 90. They made the playoffs like 2 or 3 years in a row. Then 91 hit. Then they freaking tanked for a long period of time. It's just they don't sustain things because when they get there, they got lucky. They have a few things go right and they get there. But luck and hope is not a plan or a mission statement or that's not
a strategy.
About doing business. It's not a strategy. It's nothing.
It's not a strategy. I have said that forever.
But that's what the Bengals strategy is.
Yep.
I mean, any other team in the NFL would look at what Zach Taylor's record is without a quality quarterback and say, guess what? We don't need you. We just need that quality quarterback, and we need somebody that can ramp up the defense. They need to hire a fire and brimstone defensive-minded coach. That's what they need to take all the pressure off the offense.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I'm always.
You know what this is a lot like?
Coaches.
This is a lot like the car business.
Oh, okay.
If you have a really strong parts and service department that make the majority of the money for your dealership, you don't have to sell 250 cars a month in order to make $1. If we had a strong defense, we wouldn't have to put up 40 points to win a football game. Mm-hmm. It's like we don't understand that. It's like this is the first year where the Bengals have ever been in existence, and they've got all new people in the front office selecting people. Mm-hmm. Now, what I would do, I would trade T. Higgins immediately. I would trade Hendrickson immediately. I would get rid of Logan Wilson. I would get rid of Cam Taylor-Britt. I would get rid of Zach. I would bring in the strongest head coach that you could possibly bring in, tell him to have his way with this team, and let's get back on the winning track. That's what I would do. And I would sit Flacco the rest of the year. I would sign him to a contract for next year. I would bring out 6. Let him either find his way or not find his way, and just move on. This season's lost. It's done. But I think everybody would like to see a path to have this team look like they've got a way, that there's light at the end of the tunnel, that we can actually win moving forward. Right now, I don't see a path at all. Mm-mm. There's nothing there. We're not a player away. We are so many things away.
They're honestly probably about 3 or 4 players away. I was going to say both sides of the ball. Offense, again, is fine. They're probably about 5 players away on defense.
You know where I think they also got duped? And I will speak the truth here. And, son, you're the one that said this to me last year. Look how better this defense is now that Hubbard's not around. And I think they thought that fixed a lot of things. It didn't fix anything. I don't know why they looked a little better. Maybe they weren't playing the best teams in the world at the end of the year last year offensively.
Well, I mean, I was all for it, but
that didn't work. That didn't free up Miles Murphy or whoever. It didn't do anything.
Mm-hmm.
They need to start over.
They do. They need to gut it and start over.
They need to gut it and get the right person making these decisions. They need like a Jimmy Johnson type person from back in the 80s. Somebody's just going to take over and is going to just wear people's asses out and select the right people and actually use his brain and his chutzpah and get something done.
Well, they want to know who's your coach.
Who's my coach?
If you had to go get a head coach, who is it?
John Gruden.
Okay. I can tell you what, if I'm Mike Brown or I'm taking over for Mike Brown, because if I'm Mike Brown, nothing's changing. But if I'm taking over for Mike Brown, I know the move I'm making first and foremost more than anything. And,
You mean if you had Mike Brown's ability to make a decision?
yeah, let's say I'm the owner, and
Okay.
I can make one move right away.
Which one is it? Is it Duke or Zach?
I mean, it's replacing Duke first. I think the world of John Dorsey.
Mhm.
He's just a personnel executive with the Lions right now. He's not the GM.
Well,
I watched him
He
turn
did
the
a great
Lions
job with
around.
Cleveland.
I watched him take Cleveland to the playoffs. I watched him build the Packers with Favre. I watched him build Elway's Broncos. I watched him build the modern-day Kansas City Chiefs. All of those were him. And he's currently not a GM. Why anybody isn't going to get John Dorsey is beyond me. That would be my first move, is I would pluck him from Detroit and say, go. He was there for Elway's Broncos. He was there for Favre's Packers. He was there for freaking, like I said, the Kansas City Chiefs. He took freaking Cleveland Browns to the playoffs.
Mhm.
I don't know what more the guy has to do to be a Hall of Fame executive.
But we won't make moves like that.
I would go get Dorsey, and then I would get with Dorsey and say, this is the kind of coach I want. Go figure it out. And if it's Gruden, it's Gruden. If it's somebody else, it's somebody else. And then I would say, Dorsey, here's the checkbook. I just want to make sure I can pay for Taco Bell tomorrow. If you can do that and I don't get evicted, we're in good shape. Go win me a championship.
I don't know. And I don't know about this Al Golden guy either. I really don't. You would think he could figure out a way, even without great pass rushers, to actually do something smart and scheme a few plays where you get rotational players and, where they're doing loops and stunts, and somehow, some way, somebody would touch a quarterback. It's ridiculous. They can't game plan. They really can't on defense. I don't think there's a clue on defense. What are you looking at?
I'm looking at a couple of things. He was not with Elway's Broncos. I was wrong. But he was also with the Eagles in 2020. So add another one to the list.
I am convinced if you could bring in Dorsey and you could bring in Gruden and they didn't cost you a penny, if these guys volunteered to do it, Mike Brown wouldn't take them because he doesn't want to be told what to do.
Well, that's why Dorsey left Cleveland, because Cleveland, he wanted more control over what to do in Cleveland. They said no, blew him out of there, and then they went ahead and pivoted away from Baker.
Yeah, Mike
After
Brown
they
is
blew-
Mike Brown is going to be an eternal loser because of his ego.
He could fix it right now and go get John Dorsey. That would fix the Bengals. If you want the one move that fixes the Cincinnati Bengals, it is hiring John Dorsey, and they will find a reason to not do it. That's the move.
Control.
Yep, because John Dorsey wanted control, and that's why he left the Browns. And then, all he did was fix the fucking Lions, the Cincinnati Bengals of the NFC. All he did was figure them out like yesterday. I'm going to trade for a quarterback. I'm going to draft these two running backs. I'm going to get a defense in there. And I know you're not a huge Dan Campbell guy, but he kind of fits the mold of the get fucked, let's go.
Well, he does. He fits that mold. I just don't like him.
But that's what it is. He was.
But you know what's going to happen a year from now?
Browns, he was with the Chiefs. Oh, he was also in charge of getting Aaron Rodgers over to the Packers. He followed up Brett Favre with Aaron Rodgers, so we'll add that to the list.
All we're going to do.
He was with the
all we're gonna do is
Seahawks
sit here
in
and talk.
'99.
We're just going to talk and nothing's going to happen.
Correct.
Again, this is these podcasts are all the same. They're all insanity. Everybody seems to think they've got the answers, but they're never going to see any of this stuff come to fruition. Because the guy that has the keys to the kingdom ain't going to do any of it. He's probably already in bed. Not a care in the world. You ask him right now what the final score was of that Jets game, he probably doesn't even know. I think he's asleep at the switch and hanging on to his money.
He also had a say in the 99 Seahawks when Holmgren got there and helped them get Hasselbeck. So add that one to the list too. I mean, it's everywhere the guy goes. He started as a scout for the Packers in the 90s, pivoted over to the Seahawks in 99, went back to the Packers through 2012, went over to the Chiefs in 2013, went to the Browns in 17, now went to the Eagles for a year in 2020, and now he's with the Lions since 21. I mean, everywhere he goes, he's in control and the teams win. And for whatever reason, he gets people pivot from him. I don't know why. Maybe he's the meanest son of a bitch on the planet. I don't know, but he fucking wins. He's got 2 rings. 2.
There is only one reason to be in sports.
Win.
And that's
it.
to win. Nothing
the
else
only
matters.
reason.
You don't get any points for being cutesy or pretty or this or that. No. It's all about winning. The Bengals Super Bowl was 2 weeks ago. The whiteout against Pittsburgh.
Mm-hmm.
And that was it. Nothing's left. Well, I'm about done here.
You've done good.
I've done good. Great.
Any final thoughts? Go Reds.
Don't get me started there. It's another organization. Unfortunately, anybody like myself that's a Reds and Bengal fan, we are saddled with, I would have to think, one of the, if not the worst, tandem ownership groups in all of Major League Sports. You cannot pry a dollar out of their hands to get them to compete. And Mike Brown has actually handed a hell of a lot more money than Castellini is.
All I want to see is a facial expression on this, and we'll end it here. Okay? I don't want to hear any rants, any words, just a pure facial expression, and then I'll end the show.
Okay.
McKinley Jackson for the Bengals has just requested a trade.
What are we going to get for him?